This is a special bulletin from USA Up All News. Rhonda Shear is moving her show from L.A. to New York. However, she appears to be in no hurry and is terrorizing unsuspecting cities across the country. Now to our local reporter in New Orleans, Jeb Morris.
Yes, tonight Rhonda is here in New Orleans, and though Mardi Gras has come and gone, the city has turned out in force to throw Rhonda her own parade in a last-ditch attempt to get her to the airport. Now let's take you live to Rhonda's own float, sponsored by the Bards of Bohemia.
Wait, I lost my contact! Do you see my contact? It's right by your feet! It's right there! Look for my contact! Oh, no, I can't...
Rhonda appears to be having some kind of technical difficulty with her head, so we'll now switch you to the regularly scheduled episode of Duckman.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special bulletin from USA Up All News. Rhonda Shear is on her way to New York, but no city is safe. Tonight she's in New Orleans, upsetting friends and relatives who were hoping she'd pass them by.
Hi, Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, and though this looks like a Mardi Gras parade, its sole purpose is to whisk Rhonda out of state and possibly into a ditch along the way. Let's join her on her float, sponsored by the Bards of Bohemia.
Uncle Ed! You've got toilet paper on your shoe! Get it off your shoe! So embarrassing! Oh, I'm so embarrassed! The man always shows up with toilet paper on his shirt!
Thank you, Rhonda, for that insightful commentary. We will continue to break into Up All Night with news from the Rhonda Watch as it comes in.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special bulletin from Up All News. Rhonda Shear is on the move. Now to Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
Yes, Rhonda is on the move, and as long as the move is out of New Orleans, the people here are happy. In fact, they're throwing her a parade to take her out of town. But why force Rhonda out? Rhonda causes public embarrassment by claiming she has a bionic arm. Seen here with Barbie Benton, she adds to her long list of arm wrestling defeats, which includes the likes of Hervé Villachez and Spanky McFarlane. We now return you to Duckman on USA Up All Night, but we are obligated to break in with this Rhonda Watch. Sorry.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin.
Hi, Jeb Morris here at the Farewell Rhonda Shear Parade, where an entire city has banded together in the spirit of cooperation in one final attempt to show Rhonda the door. But why? Just ask the New Orleans Department of Motor Vehicles, who finally outlawed Rhonda's passion for playing Death Race 2000 whenever the mood struck. In police footage taken just this morning, Rhonda takes a trip to the store. Unfortunately, police were not notified in time, and footage of her sadistically running down a once-happy Swiss tour group has been cut out to shield the sensitive viewer. However, for a nominal fee, I'm sure we can work out a way to get you a VHS copy of that and other exciting footage of Rhonda behind the wheel. Call today and get the bonus Roadkill compilation. Children under 10 get permission. For the common good, could there be a better reason for Rhonda to leave? I don't think so. And neither do the people who are praying this parade works. From New Orleans, the home of the human traffic cone, I'm Jeb Morris.
This is a special bulletin from USA Up All News. Rhonda Shear is moving her show from L.A. to New York, but she is taking the time to visit friends and relatives across the country. Well, just the ones who weren't able to get out of town. Now, Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
Yes, Rhonda is still here in New Orleans, much to the disappointment of the people of New Orleans, who have thrown her a parade just to coax her closer to the airport. And if you're just joining us, you have just missed the incredible Rhonda Shear Voodoo doll float, which earlier this evening fell off its base and punctured 23 bystanders. But why would a whole city want one woman to leave? Glamorous to the naked eye and the naked, one would never suspect Rhonda refuses to buy her own sweetener. Crashing parties to stockpile her supply, she shellacks the little packets, dropping them from tall buildings onto unsuspecting tourists. We now return to Duckman, but we'll continue to cover Rhonda's journey towards New York on USA Up All News.
This is a special bulletin from USA Up All News. Rhonda Shear is moving her show from L.A. to New York, but she is taking the time to visit friends and relatives across the country. Well, just the ones who weren't able to get out of town. Now, Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
Thanks, Alphonse. Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, where the coup d'etat that's only masquerading as a Mardi Gras parade is apparently having its desired effect. Rhonda is getting closer to the border. And while you were away, you missed a new entry to the parade. A Technicolor float that featured a troupe of 15 happy dwarves who jammed Serrano peppers in any available orifice. And isn't that what the Rhonda parade is really all about? But the question remains, why does New Orleans want to see hometown queen Rhonda take a powder? In a town that takes foot massages seriously, Rhonda is a hack who is crippling the city, one toe at a time. And to make matters worse, her stubborn refusal to rinse between customers is spreading some sort of plague, which is spreading, well, like a plague. And worst of all, it does not taste like chicken. Coming up later, the MIT existentialist float, which may or may not actually be here when it shows, depending on how you look at it. We now switch you to your regularly scheduled programming. From New Orleans, I'm Jeb Morris. Jeb Morris in New Orleans reporting on the thrilling Please Go Away parade this town is throwing Rhonda Shear of Up All Night before she moves her show to New York. Unfortunately, you have just missed the spectacular Bloody Glove float, which some suspect was planted late in the parade. Now let's take you live to Rhonda on her float, sponsored by the Bards of Bohemia.
These beads just are all knotted up. I mean, they're just so messy.
And obviously, at this point, Rhonda is sorely lacking her medication. We return you now to Duckman on USA Up All Night.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special USA Up All News bulletin. Rhonda Shear is moving her Up All Night show to New York. But first, she's busy getting booted out of New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans, a city ecstatic that the parade they're throwing Rhonda Shear is inching towards the border. Now out to Rhonda.
Men, they take. You always want something from me. What do they give me? I buy everything myself. Look at them. Asking, begging. What do you want? What do you want?
Valuable commentary from a woman who has a crown glued to her head. USA recognizes the importance of this Rhonda watch, but at this time we will begin our regularly scheduled movie, Tender Loving Care, which you'll see is even one more reason New Orleans wants nothing to do with Rhonda Shear. Hi, Jeb Morris here from New Orleans and the parade honoring Rhonda Shear's departure from the city. This city is starting to breathe a sigh of relief as Rhonda and her float move farther away. And why is that? She has stalked local native John Larroquette with finger sandwiches for the last 3 years. Ordered to stay at least 100 yards from him at all times, she recently broke into his house and left the refrigerator door open. We will continue to break in with these Rhonda Watch reports as they come in. We apologize for the inconvenience. I'm Jeb Morris from New Orleans. This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin.
We interrupt this commercial block for another special USA Up All News bulletin, tracking the whereabouts of Rhonda Shear, who has overstayed her welcome in New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans at a unique parade escorting Rhonda towards the river on a float designed to sink. Now out to Rhonda.
The problem with these floats is that there's no bathroom. I really have to go.
And Rhonda once again showing her human side. New Orleans is a proud city, and now it will be even prouder to be rid of Rhonda. But why? Rhonda was recently spotted crawling on her belly on Bourbon Street for no reason whatsoever. However, there were numerous complaints from people whose shoes had been tied in double knots. Reporting to you live from New Orleans, this is Jeb Morris. And now back to the Up All Night movie.
This has been a USA Up All News Special Bulletin.
Hi, Jeb Morris here on Canal Street, New Orleans, at the Rhonda Shear Parade. The parade that was established, well, sometime this morning, and will one day be famous for whisking Rhonda Shear out of town. And now, we think we've got our technical difficulties cleared up, so we now go down to our proud ejectee of the day, Rhonda Shear, somewhere on her own float.
Oh, there's the house! Really and truly, that house right there! Rhonda had a great boyfriend that lived at St. Charles Avenue. Notice the bedroom upstairs? I never saw the bedroom. The second one, the dark pink one. He was very wealthy. He was a lawyer. I hate him! He broke my heart!
Oh, the grandeur and pageantry of a complete breakdown. If only the pharmaceutical float had preceded the Rhonda float as originally planned, think of how different things might have been. From the Rhonda Shear Parade, I'm Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
This is a special USA Up All News Bulletin. Rhonda Shear has been located disturbing New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans, where most of the population has turned out to toss a parade for Rhonda Shear in a final stab to get her to the airport before everyone stabs each other. Now back to Rhonda on the Bards of Bohemia sponsored float.
There you go! I can't believe you! What kind of cameraman are you? Get back on this floor! You're shooting my backside up my nostrils! What is it? Would you?
Always so elegant. Well, the camera work anyway.
This has been a USA Up All News Special Bulletin. This is a special USA Up All News Bulletin. Rhonda Shear is leaving L.A. for New York, but on her way she is visiting friends and relatives in cities where they thought they were safe.
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans, and certainly people know Rhonda here, which is why many have barricaded themselves in their homes. But many others have turned out for the parade that is hijacking Rhonda to parts unknown. Now Rhonda on the float provided by the Bards of Bohemia.
Hi, Aunt Rita! Don't take that off!
And as usual, Rhonda is a pro. But more on her wrestling career at another time. We will continue to bring updates on the Rhonda Watch as we are told to. But we now return you to the regularly scheduled Up All Night movie.
This is a special USA Up All News bulletin. Rhonda Shear is leaving New Orleans and will eventually find her way to New York, the new location of her Up All Night show. Now to our local reporter in New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris here at the parade the city was only too happy to pay for, as long as it helped ease Rhonda out of town. But why is this city so anxious to see Rhonda depart? Rhonda is a militant vegetarian who tends to cause a scene. Seen here in a clever disguise at a crawfish eating contest, she later regurgitated the critters and made a spectacle of herself as she tried to set them free. We will continue to bring you these Rhonda updates as they come in, and we apologize in advance for them.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special USA Up All News bulletin to drill into your head that Rhonda Shear is moving her Up All Night show to New York. You got it?
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans, where Rhonda is being thrown out with great pomp and ceremony. And now to Rhonda on her float, provided by the Bards of Bohemia.
Do you have something in a larger size, a size 7.5? Can you get me a shoe? My feet hurt.
And I'd just like to point out the fascinating tradition of sending girls with flaming batons to ignite and sterilize anything in the city that Rhonda has come in contact with. This is Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin.
Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, where the Adios Rhonda parade has kicked into full swing. Across the city, people are celebrating as Rhonda weighs anchor. And out on Bourbon Street, one man has vowed to perform butt-naked push-ups until Rhonda has crossed the border. And many more have vowed to stay disgustingly drunk and stinky for no reason at all. Ironically, traditions that Rhonda herself started as a street performer back in the 80s. We'll be back with more as it comes in. From New Orleans, I'm Jeb Morris.
This is a special bulletin from Up All News. Rhonda Shear is finally leaving New Orleans, but there's no telling where she might stop next. Stay in your homes.
Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans. I'm here at an exciting Let's Lose Rhonda parade. If you're just joining us, you've just missed the dental floss float pick its way between the crowd. Now out to Rhonda on her own float, provided by the Bards of Bohemia.
Now, the worst part about Mardi Gras is when you have an itch that looks like this, and you just can't scratch it in front of thousands of people in public.
We're sorry you had to witness that sad excuse for entertainment, but this is the USA Network. We now return you to the regularly scheduled Up All Night movie. Aren't you lucky? Hi, Jeb Morris in New Orleans, where Rhonda is on her own float in a parade, annoying a large crowd.
Hey, who did that? None of you are leaving until I find out who did that. You stay right there.
Yes, Rhonda Shear, as you've never seen her before, with a big gob of lipstick on her front tooth. Oh, the humanity! And thousands have turned out just to see the spectacular parade that is dumping Rhonda out of town. But why? Statuesque, glamorous, unassuming, and yet there is another side to Rhonda Shear, besides her back. Rhonda is under the delusion that she receives orders through her scepter from some sort of mothership. After trying to convince several men to join her people, she was brought down with animal tranquilizers and fell into an elegant heap.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special USA Up All News bulletin. Rhonda Shear is in New Orleans forcing friends and relatives to flee as she tries to visit them. Now to our local reporter on the scene.
Hi, Jeb Morris here in a very festive New Orleans as word has spread that Rhonda's parade will be her last appearance in New Orleans. Now out to Rhonda.
Man, that's disgusting, they slimy New Orleans men. They take, and they still want. Have them praise, they're not real, pal. Yeah.
Well, you can't pay for entertainment like that. That's why we're basic cable. From the celebrity kidnapping that's masquerading as a parade, I'm Jeb Morris in New Orleans.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special bulletin from USA Up All News. Rhonda Shear is moving her show from L.A. to New York. However, she appears to be in no hurry and is terrorizing unsuspecting cities across the country. Now to our local reporter in New Orleans, Jeb Morris.
Yes, tonight Rhonda is here in New Orleans, and though Mardi Gras has come and gone, the city has turned out in force to throw Rhonda her own parade in a last-ditch attempt to get her to the airport. So why is it so important for New Orleans to shake Rhonda Shear?
Rhonda's poor catching skills has made her the local target of bead throwers hoping to bruise her body in designer patterns. Last year's theme was ringworm, while this year's appears to be more of an urgent Monet.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin.
Jeb Morris in New Orleans, and now the conclusion to Tender Loving Care featuring New Orleans born and fed Rhonda Shear.
This is a special USA Up All News bulletin. Rhonda Shear is getting kicked out of cities all over the country before moving her show to New York. Now out to our local reporter in New Orleans.
Jeb Morris here, reporting from the parade that is staging Rhonda's grand exit. Coming up now are several of the beauty queens that Rhonda slugged on the way to her own float. Now out to Rhonda.
Oh, thank you very much, thank you. Now get off of my float!
And we'll get back to Rhonda when she realizes she's on camera. But probably sooner.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special USA Up All News bulletin. Rhonda Shear is shifting her Up All Night show to New York. But first, she's overstaying her welcome in cities across the country. Now out to our local reporter in New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris here at a parade that may look like a Mardi Gras parade, but is actually a clever ruse to trick Rhonda Shear into getting out of town. Now out to Rhonda for a first-hand report. Rhonda?
That's not a coherent she's kissing! Who is that? Oh my God! The Shear people are just tramps!
More from Rhonda when she learns what the red light on top of the camera means. From the Rhonda Shear Parade here in New Orleans, I'm Jeb Morris.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. This is a special Rhonda Watch Up All Night bulletin. Rhonda Shear is shaking up the country and the stock market as she moves her show from L.A. to New York. Now to our local reporter on the scene in New Orleans.
Hi, Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, where Rhonda Shear's parade is snaking its way through the streets. No one really cares where it goes as long as it takes Rhonda with it. And why is New Orleans insisting that the beautiful Rhonda Shear must leave?
Rhonda isn't home with... Yes.
Rhonda and her family host a bizarre cable access show in their New Orleans home. Past segments have included a dirty sign language lesson, a bottomless head chug contest, and a mixed poodle breed cockfight, which had to be broken up by police. We now return you to your Up All Night movie, which had the same events edited out of it.
Attention, Rhonda's move to New York has temporarily gotten stuck in New Orleans. Now down to our local reporter there.
Hi, Jeb Morris here in New Orleans at the parade organized to escort Rhonda Shear out of the city limits, out of the state limits, and hopefully over at least one ocean. Now out to Rhonda. So, Rhonda, how does it feel to be on this float? Hey, Rhonda, I said, how does it feel to be on this float? Can you hear me, Rhonda? Well, it appears that instead of installing Rhonda's communication device properly, our technician copped a cheap feel. One of the pleasures, hazards of working in this business. Well, we might as well return you to the USA Up All Night movie. Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, a city with pride, culture, tradition, and an intruder named Rhonda Shear. And why is this fair city so anxious to get rid of the fair Rhonda? Recently, using a scientific balloon, Rhonda had been tagged and released to record her movements. Researchers found exactly what they expected. At any given moment, Rhonda feels compelled to table dance for no particular audience. Under a table.
This has been a USA Up All News special bulletin. We interrupt this commercial block for another special USA Up All News bulletin, tracking the whereabouts of Rhonda Shear, who has overstayed her welcome in New Orleans.
Jeb Morris here, reporting from the parade that is staging Rhonda's grand exit. But why does New Orleans want Rhonda Shear out of town? Yes, it's true, Rhonda is almost gone, and several cheers have already gone up in the air. We will continue to update Rhonda's whereabouts as reports come in. I'm Jeb Morris here in New Orleans. And now back to the regularly scheduled Up All Night movie. Happy? I'm Jeb Morris here in New Orleans, and now the conclusion to Savage Beach on USA Up All Night.
We are breaking into the end of the movie to bring you this special Up All News report.
This is Jeb Morris in New Orleans, where the parade cheering Rhonda Shear's departure is winding to a close. But wait, I just got word that Rhonda has bolted from the parade, and we have exclusive footage of her new whereabouts. Here she is, as beamed from an undisclosed elevator camera. We are trying to pinpoint her location, but it is being protected by a Shriners group who have given Rhonda safe haven. How long can this New Orleans fugitive hide? And where will she go next? What city will she terrorize? What town will she plunder? What village will she pillage? And what about her cleavage? These answers and more if you join Up All Night next Friday as we bring you continuing coverage of Rhonda's move to New York. And of course, we'll also bring you 2 below-average movies. This has been a special bulletin from Up All News.